What if an old penny in your pocket is more than just 1 cent? Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're exploring 4 Lincoln Wheat Pennies that collectors still keep an eye on. 1946 Wheat Penny, no mint mark. 1957 D Wheat Penny. 1945 Wheat Penny, no mint mark. 1952 D Wheat Penny. These classic coins feature the iconic wheat ears reverse design and were minted in a bronze/copper composition that made them a staple of American currency history. While most examples are worn, dirty, and heavily circulated, some still attract attention from collectors due to rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade conditions. Before you ignore that old penny jar, take a closer look, because even small details can turn ordinary coins into something special. Let's start with coin number 1. Stop for a second. Don't scroll past this too fast. Because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at a simple penny forever. Not every coin is just 1 cent. Some coins are only valuable because people never bothered to look closely. And that's where most discoveries happen. In things people ignore. At first glance, this coin feels completely normal. Nothing shiny. Nothing rare looking. Just a basic copper penny with Abraham Lincoln on the front. And wheat stalks on the back. The kind of coin you've probably seen thousands of times. And probably never paid attention to. But here's where the story quietly changes. Because collectors don't judge coins by how they look in your hand today. They judge what time did to them. The 1946 wheat penny was minted right after World War II ended. America was stepping out of war. And moving into rebuilding everything again. Factories were shifting. Production was increasing. And coins were being made in huge quantities for daily use. So yes, this coin was not rare when it was released. It entered normal circulation like every other penny. It was used in shops. Passed through hands. Dropped in pockets. And forgotten in jars. And that is exactly why most people ignore it today. Because it feels too common. Too normal. Too ordinary. But here's the hidden truth collectors understand. Backhand index pointing right common coins in production can still become rare in survival. Because here is what actually happened over time. Most 1946 pennies didn't survive in clean condition. They were heavily circulated. Scratched over time. Stored without care. Exposed to dirt and moisture. And slowly, their sharp details started disappearing. When collectors see a 1946 penny, they don't ask, how old is it? They ask, backhand index pointing right, how much detail is still alive in this coin? They zoom into Lincoln's portrait. Not casually, but very carefully. They check hairlines, cheek detail, jaw sharpness, engraving depth. Because time slowly erases all of this. And once it's gone, it never comes back. Then they flip the coin and study the wheat stalks on the reverse. Because this is where condition speaks louder. Strong lines, clean structure, visible edges. All signal better preservation. But if everything looks soft, flat, or faded, then the coin tells a different story. A story of heavy circulation. A coin doesn't become valuable just because it is old. And it doesn't become valuable just because it exists. It becomes valuable when it survives better than others. That's the real separation point. Not age. Not date. But survival quality. Never clean old coins. Not even slightly. Not even for better shine. Because cleaning removes original surface. Destroys natural texture. Wipes out collector authenticity. And once originality is gone, value drops instantly in collector eyes. Even if it looks better to you. The 1946 penny may not be rare in numbers, But it is important in understanding coin value itself, because it teaches a simple rule. Backhand index pointing right, even ordinary coins can become interesting depending on condition. And that is why collectors still look at it carefully. Not because it is the rarest coin, but because it represents a common mistake beginners make: ignoring condition. So when you see a 1946 wheat penny, don't just think old coin. Think deeper. Backhand index pointing right, how many of these survived in this condition? Because that question alone separates a normal coin from a collectible one. And this is just the first coin. The real surprises start when we move forward. Now wait. Don't think this is just another normal penny. Because the moment people see this coin, they usually make one big mistake. They ignore it instantly. And that is exactly where opportunity gets lost. At first glance, this coin looks completely average. Same copper color. Same Lincoln portrait. Same wheat stalk design on the back. Nothing that screams value. Nothing that looks rare. Nothing that grabs attention. But here's the hidden detail. There is a small letter under the date. Backhand index pointing right D. That means Denver Mint. And that changes how collectors think about it. Most people assume, if millions were made, it has no value. But collectors think the opposite way. They don't start with rarity. They start with condition. Because here's the truth. Even common coins become valuable when they survive in better condition than others. The 1957 D penny was heavily circulated. It was used in daily life everywhere. Shops, markets, wallets, pockets. It moved constantly through hands. So today, most examples are worn out. Soft details. Faded lines. No sharp features. But here's the key. Backhand index pointing right average condition is common, but above average condition is rare. They don't rush. They zoom in. They slow down. Because small details decide everything. They check Lincoln's face, hair sharpness, cheek definition, engraving clarity. Because these details slowly disappear with time. Then they flip the coin and study wheat stalks. Strong lines mean survival. Weak lines mean heavy circulation. And that difference changes everything. This coin is not valuable because it is rare. It becomes interesting because backhand index pointing right good condition examples are harder to find. Most were used heavily. So clean survivors stand out automatically. Some people try to improve old coins by cleaning them or polishing them. But that destroys originality instantly. And collectors hate that. Because originality cannot be replaced. Copper naturally changes over time. So this coin can appear as brown, red-brown, or red. And red-toned coins, if naturally preserved, are far more attractive. Even though it is not rare in production, collectors still search for it. Because they want better examples. Not just any example. And that demand never disappears. It only becomes stricter with condition. So when you look at a 1957 D penny, don't just see a normal coin. See this question instead. Backhand index pointing right, is this better preserved than most others? Because that single question is what creates value in coin collecting. And now, we move to a coin that connects even deeper with history. Now we are stepping into something deeper. Because this coin is not just about value. It's about history. And history always changes how collectors see a coin. At first glance, you would never stop for this coin. It looks simple. Worn copper. Faded details. Same Lincoln design you've seen before. And no mint mark under the date. That's it. Nothing special, at least visually. But here's where the story shifts completely. Because 1945 was not a normal year. It was the final year of World War II. And that changes everything. This coin was born during global change. A time when countries were rebuilding. Economies were shifting. And everyday life was slowly returning to normal. So this penny is not just metal. It is a small surviving witness of that era. And that's exactly why collectors care. Not just because of money, but because of meaning. Millions of 1945 pennies were made. So people assume, backhand index pointing right, it must be worthless. But that assumption is the mistake. Because collectors don't chase how many were made. They chase how many survived well. And that is a completely different game. When they examine this coin, they slow everything down. No rushing. No guessing. Just detail checking. They focus on Lincoln's face. Hair texture. Jawline clarity. Eye detail. Because circulation slowly erases fine design work. Then they flip it. And study the wheat stalks. Strong structure means preservation. Weak structure means heavy wear. And that difference decides everything. A coin doesn't lose value because it is old. It loses value because it is damaged. And damage comes from time, handling, and circulation. So two identical coins can have totally different values. Just based on condition. Never clean old coins. Because cleaning destroys original surface. Removes natural aging. Kills collector interest. Even if it looks shiny after cleaning, it becomes less valuable instantly. Collectors want originality, not artificial shine. The 1945 penny continues to stay relevant because it connects to history. It has collector demand. And high-grade examples are rare. Not rare in production, but rare in survival quality. So when you see a 1945 wheat penny, don't just see a coin. See this question. Backhand index pointing right, how did this survive so many decades in this condition? Because that question is where value starts in coin collecting. And now we reach the final coin. And this is where everything starts to make sense. Because this one looks the most normal out of all. And that is exactly why people miss it completely. At first glance, nothing feels unusual. Same copper color. Same Lincoln portrait. Same wheat stalk design. Same everyday penny look. No shine. No obvious rarity. No attention-grabbing detail. But here's the hidden truth. There is a small letter under the date. Backhand index pointing right D mint mark. That means Denver Mint production. And that's where collectors start paying attention. Most people think, if it's common, it has no value. But coin collectors never think like that. They think differently. They ask only one question. Backhand index pointing right, how many survived in good condition? Because survival changes everything. The 1952 D penny was heavily circulated. It was used in daily life everywhere. Shop counters, wallets, pockets, jars. It moved constantly. So today, most examples look worn. Soft details. Faded lines. Dull surface. But that is normal. Collectors are not looking for normal. They are looking for exception. Collectors zoom into details. They study Lincoln's face. Hair sharpness. Facial structure. Engraving depth. Because time slowly removes fine detail. Then they flip the coin. And study wheat stalks. If lines are strong, it means better preservation. If lines are weak, It means heavy circulation. And that difference matters a lot. This coin is not valuable because it is rare in numbers. It becomes interesting when backhand index pointing right condition is better than average. Because most coins are worn out. So clean survivors stand out. Never clean old coins. Because cleaning destroys original surface, removes natural texture, reduces collector demand instantly. Even if it looks shiny, it loses originality. And originality is everything in coin collecting. Even though millions were made, collectors still search for high-grade examples. Because demand for better condition never ends. It only increases. So even common coins can become valuable in the right condition. Now when you look at all four coins together, you see the real pattern. It was never about rarity alone. Backhand index pointing right, it was about survival. Backhand index pointing right, it was about condition. Backhand index pointing right, it was about detail preservation. Most people will never notice this. They will spend coins without thinking. They will ignore history in their hands. But collectors see something else. They see potential. They see survival. They see hidden value inside ordinary things. So next time you see an old penny, don't rush to spend it. Because sometimes the most ordinary coin is the one hiding the biggest surprise.